Hello everybody and welcome to season 3 of Tech Talks Schoolboy Ruggers. So very nice episode to start with, something special. We always talk to school coaches and people involved in the school environment. But today we have special guests from SAS Rugby, and we're going to talk a little bit about what SAS does there in Stellenbosch. Obviously very closely linked to Schoolboy Rugby as well, because the boys from school look to get involved in SAS. And SAS obviously has programs where they work with SA schools and so forth. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Ernst Joubert and Hein Kriek from SAS Rugby. Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Hello, Texie.
Thanks, how are you? It's good to be here. Thank you very much. We're doing very well.
That's fantastic to hear. So for those who don't know, we're recording this very early in January. So you two are back in the job now for a couple of days. I'm technically still on holiday. So we've got fresh faces and we're still excited about 2025 because I still very much have holiday vibes here.
We're back on the horse since Monday. Last prep before the new batch of boys come in end of January.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for those who followed Tech Talks over the years, they'll obviously know Hein. Hein, you look a little bit different from the last time I saw you. There's some grayness in the face that wasn't there last time.
That's what happens, but that's what happens when you get old and get stressed.
Yeah. So we have a new guest. Ernst, we're going to focus on you for the first part of the interview. We already know Hein a little bit. So we're going to hit you with some questions to just get to know you a little bit more and find out who is the man behind the rugby program. Are you ready for that?
I'm happy, Tex. Thanks. Thanks for the opportunity. It's good to be here, and it's good to be back in the office. We all had a good break, but it's like back to reality, and we're going to put some food on the table.
Yeah, awesome. So, Ernst, obviously you've been a pro player for a long time, and you've been involved with SAS now. Why the decision to stay involved in rugby? Aren't you sick of it by now? Why do you want to stay in rugby?
It's kind of probably chose me as well. I think we do love the sport. It's something you've always done as a kid. I remember sitting around dinner table, and I think there's families that talk about finances, and somehow we always chatted about rugby. So it's something and when I came back from Saracens, I had a transition year at Remgro, who at that time part-owned Saracens. And through that, I started working here at SAS. I got opportunity to stay in the rugby and start a few new programs, and it was quite exciting. It was something I knew, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to stay in the group and also work in a high performance environment. Something that I probably got to know a bit when playing professional rugby, and see if you can share that experiences with younger people. I was fortunate enough that I didn't really have to struggle to find something. I know a lot of rugby players go through a tough time to do that, but I was fortunate enough through the planning that we had at Saracens to have a soft landing year, and that's 2016, and I'm still here, and it's going strong.
That's awesome. So obviously in the intro, I threw up you guys' CVs and everybody knows what you've done. Hein, we've had this chat before, so Ernst again. You've obviously had an incredibly successful rugby career, right? And now you've been really successful in managing SAS as well, and you guys are always fully booked. As soon as entries open up, it's already fully booked, and there's so many success stories that's come through the program. So why do you think that is? Why do you think almost everything that you've touched in the rugby game has been successful? What do you think is the reason why you've been able to be successful as a player, firstly, and now in administration?
Oh, thanks. It's a compliment. At some point as a player, I didn't always feel that successful. It was a bit of a slow start. I think it's just planning. I think we never compromise on quality, and it was a slow start. I mean, Hein came in and did a fantastic job with a 5-month program, and it's just kicked on from there. But I saw the photo yesterday. It popped up from 2017. It was our first SASRII 5-month training camp that we started. And I remember, and the photo is a group of guys sitting in a circle in chairs and introducing themselves. And I think I counted 20 players. So that's what we started with in 2017. So it was a fight. I must admit that the first few years was a fight to get it filled up and grow. And people don't necessarily trust you, and they don't know what this new thing is. And it's and you don't really have word of mouth. It's just all promotion. And I think 2017, your social media wasn't as strong as it is now. So it was a slow start to the point where we finally got to a point, probably 5 years later, where the program started selling itself. And and then we get to our capacity now of 52 players, and that's good. I always joke with Hein when he came in. I said, you got to realize that by December you're probably going to start looking for players again. But Hein is very good with his admin, and because of that, and the reason the program kicked on, we basically the program was filled up in Hein, if I'm correct, in October already. And the same with the coaching seminar and our 3-week camps. It's look, you got to go out of your way to get the word out there. So the coaching seminar it's probably my biggest frustration every year, because you get this great panel, and you feel you're going to fill it up in a 2 weeks time, and then 2 months later you still go reaching out to all the coaches, asking them, why aren't you coming? But it's hard because people need a plan. It's December. It's a tough one. But I just think the reason we're blessed at the moment with our programs is I think we never compromise on professionalism and quality, and that's the key focus.
Yeah, no, and from the seminar, we're going to talk a little bit more about the seminar later on. But I've been to 7 of them. I think I've only missed one. Professional, absolutely, and we're going to talk more about that a little bit later.
It's just a throw that needs to be proper and explosive jump.
Turbo switching lanes, Hublot switching wide, trapping switch the spots. When you run it hot, feet on the gas, trapping them bags, run up a sack, and double the back. Get right, I got to
Jacques the shoulder, inside.
get right, yeah. After I hit that hole, you need
He's gonna sell it. The guy's gonna hit the trigger. He's gonna dump it first.
I'm bossing. Get right, yeah. Stack the money, throw back the ballin'. Get right. I secure the bag first, I'm ready to boast. Yeah. I secure the bag first, I'm full of that dope. Yeah. Coincide with a meat, yeah. People cooking in the sink.
But what I want to do now, Ernst, is I want to get to know you a little bit better. So don't think about these questions. Just answer whatever comes up first. Right?
Yes, I know. I don't even know myself, but let's see. Hopefully you can know me better.
All 3 of us are going to get to know you a little bit better now.
Yeah, happy days. Happy days.
Right. So, favorite band or song?
Of all, it depends. It differs, but of all time, U2, with or without you.
U2. Okay. Favorite food?
Steak and chips.
Nice. Favorite color?
I probably should say red, but I'm unfortunately I like blue.
There's nothing wrong with liking blue, especially if you throw a little bit of white in there as well. Huh?
That's the problem.
Drink of choice?
I'm a beer drinker. I enjoy my beers.
Nice. Favorite movie?
All-time Gladiator.
Nice. So you're obviously excited about Gladiator 2.
I am. I'm skeptic. I'm a bit worried. I'm skeptic of being disappointed, but I'll give it a go.
Nice. Okay. The first team you were ever involved with in coaching?
It's the first and the last one. It's SAS. If I remember being in grade 7, we had to coach the grade 1. So if that doesn't count, then this is my first one. Yes.
Okay, so it technically counts. So grade 1.
Yeah.
Okay, your favorite
we
quote to use?
Ooh, Hein will tell you I'm not the best quote person in the world, but a motto I'll probably try in life, and I don't always get it right, is treat people the way I want to get treated. So we'll be treated.
Nice.
So I think
that's a good one.
far away.
Your best playing memory, where was it and why is it your favorite memory?
There's quite a few, but the one that obviously stand out is winning the premiership with Saracens in 2011. Arrived there 2009/2010, because obviously they started in the middle of the year. We lost the premiership final the first year against Leicester, and then luckily bounced back to win it in front of a jam-packed 89,000 full Twickenham Stadium, which was quite
Nice.
special.
That is pretty cool. Describe your character in one sentence.
Fine. Probably you see what you get. I think I'm a fairly mellow person, relaxed. Yeah, I think that's about it.
I love how with Hein here, we get immediate feedback from your answers. We're like, yeah, I agree with that. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, exactly.
Because it's right.
Right. So, who's been role models and mentors for you?
Obviously, I was close to my dad, so he's a strong one. I remember back in the days when I was a young player, always spoke about leadership, and I think my parents were very close in that sense. And obviously had a few great coaches in life, and then the man sitting here next door to me, Jacques, who's been my first team coach at school from under 16 and 2 years first team Craven Week. And now has been my boss for 8 years. I think he's a fantastic mentor. That just his mindset and his calmness and the way he guides people. He's played a massive role in my life.
I think maybe worth it later on to chat a little bit about Jacques. I think he's kind of like the behind the scenes unsung hero of the SAS program as well, right?
No, definitely he's the godfather. So he keeps a low profile, but he makes everything stick.
Right. And there's no context to this question. Just answer it. URC, Super Rugby, or Premiership?
I'm gonna answer, and then I'm gonna say I'll say Premiership because I really enjoyed it. But it's almost comparing apples to pears because your Premiership is probably more Currie Cup and your Super Rugby is more Investec Cup. So I must say I enjoyed Super Rugby, even though you always at the Lions struggled a bit with it. I did enjoy it, but we called it back in the day the Hanekom Cup, which is now the Investec Trophy. I must say that's a fantastic competition.
Yeah,
I really enjoy
agreed.
it. The Premiership, I enjoy the Premiership.
Yeah, I've spoken to a lot of players that have done Super Rugby and URC, and almost all of them say, "Well, you're forgetting about the Heineken Cup, and that's the really special one." Although it doesn't look that way right now for SA teams, it really does seem to be like the Champions League of rugby.
It's a different competition. It's a tough competition, and the nice thing about it is you see all these countries and all these towns, and it's jam packed, and you play in these smaller stadiums, and it's full, and the town supports it. I think the difference is, and where South African teams will probably still see the differences. It's a bit more of a battle. I think URC and Super Rugby, it's a showpiece. Throw the ball around. Yeah. It's spectacular. People go for tries. Unfortunately, play against the French teams that's big. You can't run out of your 22 and not have a kicking game. You got to take a few steps back and realize that this is very defensive and kicking focus. And then obviously when it opens up, that you can start throwing the ball around. But it's a different competition. You can't have the same mindset than you have in URC, because I think that's why we're struggling at the moment. We all want to play an expansive brand of rugby. But it's a struggle if you get in the Investec Trophy, because all the teams are strong defensively and they'll just pin you down.
Interesting point. Forwards or backs?
Forwards.
I have to say that, right? Attack or defense?
Oh, I have to settle for attack. Wide channels. 2-4-2.
Okay, cool. Right. So even though you're not heavily involved in the coaching, the last question is, would you rather coach the Boks and only earn like 100 grand a year, or would you coach England and earn 10 million a year? So we're basically asking whether you're loyal or not.
Well, that's a tough one because I'm dual citizen, so I'm British as well. I can probably choose one or the other. So it's the worst person. If I get 100,000, if I know I'm gonna still have the job in 2 years' time, I'll go for option one. But if I'm not successful, I'll probably have to plan better and go for option two.
No, fair. Right? And you do have a family as well to look after.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think Hein, he did well. He didn't buckle under the pressure. Pretty good answers. Happy with that?
Okay. He's a man for the big moment. But you must wake up every morning and be the best that you can be. And my best, and Coach Juan's best, and Coach Estien's best, Tristan Arday's best is not the same. Our levels are different. But you got to be the best that you can be every day. But you cannot be an average. Average does not exist. You're never going to get anywhere in life. If you're the best at everything you want to be, and you're the best that you can be, you might not make it in rugby, but you'll make it in business. Make it as a husband one day. When you come back tomorrow, we have a captain's run tomorrow, and if you're not in the captain's run, whatever our mind gives you to do, you go 1,000,000 miles an hour, because it's the last time you're going to do it. Right? Don't be average. I see, quick.
So, like Ernst said, he's not that big in the coaching. So, Hein, we're going to shift to you a little bit. We've had this chat before, but obviously you're wiser, a little bit grayer. You're involved in a different setup now. Has your coaching philosophy changed at all? How do you see it now, being at SAS and working with, I guess, pro players, right? It's not schoolboys anymore.
Dixie is difficult because you get This year you get 52 boys coming in, and they come from 15 different countries.
Mm.
We cover the UK. They come from Argentina. They're from Brazil, the Netherlands. There's South African boys in there. So your coaching philosophy does change a little bit. You're also not building a team for a competition, but you're building the individual to leave after 5.5 months
Yeah.
being a bigger rugby player, but within a team environment. So your philosophy must, there's no win at all cost. It's more focused on the individual and getting him better. So the philosophy is still the same of a non-negotiable skill set. And some of them arrive here with with a skill set that's not up to scratch, and we made that better for them. But then the other one is effort. They live. I think we're probably the closest to being a professional, but not being one. They live and
Yes.
breathe as it's rugby 24/7. There's no other distractions except Stellenbosch itself.
which is a
So
big one.
yeah. But the coaching, the philosophy is then, okay, how do I get the best out of this guy in the short time span that we have? And giving him that experience. And the reality is some oaks arrive and they want to be pros and they leave after 5.5 months realizing it's bloody hard work being a pro.
Yeah.
And that's not what they want to do. Other oaks come and they prep for their varsity season abroad, so different focus. But the effort needs to be there, and that's still the philosophy. You still got to work hard to make it work.
So then that you've already answered the next question. There's those non-negotiables, which are the same still. I checked up with your episode. It's still the same as it was in 2021. So then how do you guys go about enforcing that, or not enforcing, but making sure that is a daily part of every one of those players' routines? Because they're not pro yet, like you said. They really come to you guys to develop, right? And to become better and to create pro opportunities for them. So how do you then make sure that skill set, obviously we're on the field, but how do we make sure that effort is there and that the guy understand that he needs to be professional even though he is not yet a pro?
Hard work. um, I think the fact that we put them in an extremely structured environment, Asius, where and that's the reality of pro rugby as well, is that they get a proper structure every week. There's very few things that change unless things come along. But the structure is there, and as soon as you put a human being in a structure and he knows exactly what's coming, it's a lot easier to get the best out of him because there's no other distractions in the time period where that you put him. That is, this is what your day looks like. Let's go. Don't worry about other stuff. You get the best out of that, and then together with that, I don't give them rules. We through Dion, who's our high performance guy on Wednesdays, mental coach. We work on 5 things with them, and those are the 5 rules. And if we can keep to those 5 things, everything else falls in place. So there's no enforce. It is a buy-in, basically. And I think it's a lot easier because everybody's here for the same reason. They all want
Yeah,
to get better. There's no other reason for them being here except they want to get better.
yeah.
Um, because they're all on the same track, same focus, same mindset. We provide the structure to work within. Um, and I must say it's the one thing that I've learned from Ernst as well is they must have fun as well. It can't just be rugby, rugby, rugby. We are in Stellenbosch. They must have fun. They're young. They're 20 years old. You can't lock them up in a gate. They must have fun. With that comes consequences and risks, but you need to manage those as you go. And that's the reality of rugby as well. If players don't have fun, it's not nice. You're not going to be successful.
That's
I
that's so
just
interesting. Well, yeah, sorry, Ernst.
say- no, I just want to add this. I think which where Hein also gets it right is you got to create a team as quick as possible.
Yeah,
And that's a challenge. It's because as soon as a guy feels part of something and he starts caring for the guy next to him, all of a sudden, I don't want to give up. I don't want to mess up because I don't just drop myself, I drop my teammates. Now, in 5 months, it's not the easiest thing to do
yeah,
because you get guys, you get boys here that can hardly speak English when they arrive here. So you've got basically a pre-season of 9 weeks to get a whole team together with a great environment, skills, game plan, everything. Um, and obviously you slip up every now and then, you don't get it right. There's individuals that don't care, and then unfortunately they will also figure that out, and after 5 months they'll go back to their parents and say, look, rugby is not for me. And if we can do that, at least then we're getting it right as well, because this person is going to waste his time. But as soon as guys get in, like Hein said, they've got purpose, they're part of a team, then all of a sudden the job becomes easier.
I know she knows, I know she ain't the one. She calls me every name under the sun. Waste man, lazy, she's mad, she's crazy. She ain't the girl you wanna lie to, but like a fool one day I still try to. Like, I never forgot your birthday, I was just trying to surprise you. She told me that I talk nonsense, she said I never boost her confidence. She came home wearing a brand new dress, but I never gave her a compliment. No emotion, no attention, she wants me to pop the question, but I never said a word, not even a mention.
Yeah. What was really interesting now while you were talking is I realized that you guys are maybe one of the only institutions where all the players who are there have the same why. You know, if you look into leadership, and Simon Sinek, that's been the big thing over the last couple of years is your why. So at school, the boys have different whys. Even in pro setups, the guys have different whys. I care about my mom or dad's opinion, or I want to make money, or this or that. Everybody that comes to you guys want to get better. So that's actually really cool, and makes the job maybe a little bit simpler because they're all there for that same reason.
100%, 100%. Makes it a lot easier. A lot easier.
The challenge is also, I think the big challenge is what's totally different, because you asked Hein that question earlier, the difference between, and even though it's only a few months, I think the big challenge sometimes that crawls in is when you're paying academy. Because when people, if you contract it, if you don't do your job, I tell you to leave. It's almost like it's a non-negotiable. If I or my parents pay, you can easily have the mindset of it's my right to be here, and you need to provide a service.
No,
true. But our service is we know why you are paying is to get you better. And if that why doesn't work for you, then if you're happy to waste your parents' money, then happy days. So that's sometimes that's a bit different when people pay. It makes it a bit different. But I think the type of person we get that pays is someone that really wants to get better.
Yeah.
No, agreed. So we then get into SAS. That's why we're here. Ernst, we're going to start with you. The history of SAS. How did it get started? When did it get started? Why did it get started?
So SAS was actually Jacques Hanekom's brainchild again. So he was coaching at Porus, and there was this vacant land, and I think it was born out of frustration that he might have had with where the accommodation with the Western Province Rugby Institute, where they were back then. And he decided he's going to move it, and he wants to build a place where they can stay. And SAS was built in 2012. And I think what a lot of people, I think they obviously see a lot of rugby, but SAS, we are basically, for the lack of a better description, we are a high performance sports hotel. So we get the URC teams come and stay with us. We've got Olympic athletes that stay with us. We got cricket teams that stay with us. So we get people from all over the world to stay with us. And then inside of SAS, we've got a rugby division where we fit in. So the SAS Rugby, and that's where we have our various programs. We've got the 5 months Rugby Institute. We've got the 7s, 5 months Rugby Institute. We've got the coaching seminar. We've got 3-week camps. So that's our in-house product that we basically have. But as far as SAS goes, we are a high-performance hotel that provide state-of-the-art rooms and food and gym to everyone that want to stay. I think the reason why teams like us, especially your URC teams, is you never have to get on a bus. You come to SAS, you train at Makoto, you walk into town, you've got your gyms here. So it's a one-stop shop that makes it comfortable. I remember as an ex-player, your worst was when you go on Super Rugby, you sit in the hotel, you got to go to the gym half an hour on a bus, then back, then you chill, then you got to get on a half an hour on a bus to get to a field. So there's none of that, and that's appealing. And obviously with the rugby, we felt we had to bring energy into the building. Otherwise, it's just a hotel, and the rugby products really bring energy. It makes the building alive, because through the year there's always guys here training, and it creates a great vibe.
Yeah, and it really is, having spent some time there for whatever reason, whether it was an EPD camp or the coaching seminar, or we've also stayed there with provincial coaches doing training there. It really is a full service facility where you've got that awesome kitchen, and man, those guys can cook some nice steaks there as well. And it's you've got your rehab, and there's a pool, and there's physios, and there's a gym, and there's all of that stuff. So it really is, when you go to SAS, other than leaving every now and then and going to have a beer somewhere else if you want to, or go to a shop, everything that you need as a pro athlete is there. And that, I think, is crucial to the success of it.
No, absolutely. I think that's why we also always tell the guys, the boys that come for the 5 months, is you only have to worry about getting better at rugby. The rest is sorted. You've got your room, you've got your food, you've got your meals. You don't have to go off the training field and think, what am I going to cook tonight? It's all included. You've got your kit. You literally don't have to worry about anything, just rugby.
Yeah.
And that's, luckily, I think, that what makes it unique.
That's awesome. So, Ernst, obviously there's a lot of people employed in the organization. We just spoke about physios and S&Cs and gym guys and all those things. But can you give us an overview of what the rugby program looks like? Like who's in charge of running the program and the subdivisions that you have operational there?
I'm going to stop it. I'm going to go and tell you about, so obviously, we have physios and we have a medical department by kinetics. But that's open to the public, so anyone can do it. People coming in do their rehab after operations, and so we're not necessarily just closed, so anyone can do that. Where I'm going to let Hein, I'm going to give him the opportunity to talk more, because he's more involved now with the program. Who's involved with the 5 months program? I think he'll probably be the best to describe all our staff. And we're not skeleton staff, but we don't rock up here with 20 coaches and medical staff. We try and keep it lean and mean, because then everyone's got a purpose.
Hein?
So it takes you from the 15s program. I obviously head it up, and the management underneath me is Ernst is now, as he's mentioned, Ernst was one of the coaches there. He's now moved on to a bigger role. 2 of the other coaches moved on to international roles, so we tried to create that environment for them as well. But then with me is Johan de Jong. He does the backs and the attack. We're quite fortunate to have him, and he's also the head coach at Boland under 21, very successful there as well.
We went to school together. We played together. We went to school together. You can know. 2006 for Chick.
I gather you were not the inside center.
Outside. Oh, sorry, I was wing.
So Joubert is with us. Very fortunate to have him with us again this year. And then getting him involved with the Boland under 21. Nice link there. Nick Ferreira is also involved. Nick was with Chris with the 7s program. So Nick does our skills and does our kicking game for us as well. Forward coach to be confirmed in Ernst's place, so that still comes. Armand Venter is our bio in S&C. So Armand heads up the S&C department with some of the Irish interns that comes. And then Andrea Damon is our physio on that side. So, and then she's got interns that comes and goes as they like. And then last but not least is Estian Steinberg. Estian was in the 7s program as a player. Very good rugby player. Unfortunately, due to career-ending injury, could not move further on. Estian then joined us as an intern, and then is now making his way through coaching. So Estian is looking after the breakdown for us. So that is the coaching setup for this year. And then, as we go from there.
Nick Ferreira, kicking coach. We look forward to welcoming the SASRII class of 2025, getting to know you and work with you, and seeing you develop not only as rugby players but also as young men. Cheers.
Hey guys, Johan Young over here, assistant coach of SASRII, doing the backs and attack. Super excited to meet you guys, super excited to see you guys, and I'll take your skills to the next level. See you guys soon.
Hello guys, I'm Armand Venter, the S&C and bio for SASRII, and I hope you guys are ready for 2025.
Hello, I'm Ferdi. You're going to eat baie lekker here by us.
Hey guys, Andrea, physio for SASRII 2025. Just wanted to say keen to see you guys, and see you in 2 weeks.
Hey boys, to the 2025 SASRII intake. We're looking forward to welcome you into Stellenbosch, into SAS. It's Neil the Cock here. Looking forward to getting you in house and cracking on with the business.
Hi, I'm Cecilia Kennedy. And I'm in the housekeeping department, and I'm the housekeeping assistant manager, and I can't wait to see you guys.
Awesome.
So as you can see, it's lean and mean, but it's less voices, less noise, more action.
Yeah, look, I honestly believe that's the way to go. Nowadays, if I look at the fields, I'm not going to mention schools' names, but across from us, teams that we play against, there's a lot of people in that little box. I don't know how they get all those big bodies in there, and everybody's got earpieces on, and too many voices is not necessarily always a good thing. You want people to have professional experience with components and bring the essence or bring the breakdown like you have. But if you have too many chefs in the kitchen, the food's gonna get burnt.
Yeah, true.
Right. So,
Eddie, you want to maybe build out? Sorry, Eddie, you want to maybe tell a bit more about the sevens program and SASRII?
Yeah, so obviously sevens was also something that was, I think we created a year. I think our first year was 2018, and it ran the same time as the 15, so it was the beginning of the year, and then we just felt it was a better fit to move it to the second part of the year because there's a few sevens competitions in November.
Yes.
So that's the second part. So like I said, Nick is running with that at the moment. That's also been good. And the nice thing with the sevens is it's very close to the, let's call it, for the lack of, I don't know if it's still a term, but the SA Sevens Academy. So when your Tricky Ricky is probably one guy that's a good example that came in here and did the 5 months. He got pulled into the academy and obviously then became a blitz box. So there's an easy exit for boys there. And then we have a 3-week camp that we do in July. That's predominantly for foreign boys because it doesn't really fit in the South African holidays. But we almost treat it like a mini congested 5-month camp. So it's for boys 15, 16, 17-year-old that want to experience SAS. So they come in July for 3 weeks and they train and they stay here and they go back home. So it's a bit of a summer break for them. Unfortunately, they do it in the winter year, and the last 2 winters have been tough. But luckily we had the indoor facility at Makote that we can use.
Yeah.
And then obviously they were the one you also very familiar with, Tex, is the coaching seminar that we do at the end of every year.
Morning, I'm Harry. It's game day today, so I'm going to walk you through my day and show you what it looks like to play for SAS Sevens on game day.
When I get home, I want you. Hello, I got places to be. Hello, I got places to be. Like me next to you, and you next to me. Hello, I got places to be. Like me next to you, and you next to me. Hello, I got places to be. Like me next to you, and you next to me, and you next to me, and you next to me, and you next to me. Hello, I got places to be.
Game day done.
Yeah. So you've actually already answered the next question, but if you can maybe give it to us linearly, what does the year look like? What does 2025 look like? So obviously you guys are prepping now for the 5.5 month camp with the 15s.
Yeah. So we start end of January. The boys, well, the planning is obviously long in advance, but the end of January the boys come in for the 5 months and the 15s program. So they'll be with us till the end of June. Then there's actually in the beginning of June this year, as that camp we have, the 3-week camp, there's also one for girls, which predominantly also foreign. That'll be for 2 weeks. When they're done, literally the next day, the 3-week 15 to 17-year-old boys camp start. That'll go into August. And as soon as that is finished, the sevens program will start. That'll take us all the way to November. And then after that, it's the coaching seminar, and then it's Christmas again.
Nice.
And we go all over.
Yeah.
I
wish it was so easy. I wish it all was so easy as I described it now.
Yeah. it's exciting, and I love what you guys do. So then, the next part that I'd like to talk about is obviously you guys are right next to Paul Roos. Surely there is links between SAS and Paul Roos. So does the school use your facilities? Do you provide coaches? Do you provide anything to the school? Because you got to maybe use this opportunity to say, no, the reason they're number one in the country right now is because SAS is right next to them. Huh?
I would love to do that. I would love to say that, but then if as soon as I say that, then next year I won't have any boys' eye or Paul Gym boys coming to the 5-month camp. I think a lot of people do believe that we are close, but we're actually not. Obviously, Courtney and Adart and them coached here before. Courtney was the head coach before I took over, and before Hein joined. So Courtney ran with the program with originally Chris Rousseau. They were the two first coaches we had. So Corner obviously moved on, and Adart, we used him as a forwards coach as well. So other than that, obviously the school got their own gym, own facilities. We all know each other, but we're not directly involved. Except for maybe helping manage the fields and stuff like that with this SA Academy and the facilities they have. But we're totally running separately at the moment.
Okay, cool. Right. So then, this year or 2024, I know the SA school side didn't stay with you guys, but usually they stay with you as well for that couple of weeks before the under 18 series starts. So obviously there's a relationship between you guys and SA Rugby. How did that come about? And then obviously I've spoken to a lot of the SA schools boys. I've been there a lot watching training sessions. They love going to SAS. They love being there because it's also a really pro setup for them. So how did that come about? And obviously the relationship, I assume, will continue since they play a lot of games at Paul Roos as well, and they stay with you.
Yeah, it's so that's been a contract with SA Rugby from the beginning when SAS started, and it's been renewed again. So we have a contract with SAS in place. SAS got a contract with SA Rugby in place where they obviously the sevens will be based here, the women's programs will be based here, the S under 20s will be based here, the under 18s will use it for training camps. So that's a contract we've had from the beginning. It's going strong. They're almost like a permanent tenant in the building.
Yeah.
Some of their officers are here, some of their staff work here. So it's obviously fantastic to have that energy in the building. Have SA Rugby involved with SAS is brilliant. And having those teams here, it helps us, and it's always good to see the guys, especially for our guys in the 50s program with the academy or the institute, when they see S under 20 boys, and every now and then they see the Springboks stay here, they think, okay, I'm at a good place. So yeah, it's a big difference.
Definitely.